Heartfelt lyrics, check. Catchy as fuck choruses, check. Genius, check. Ginger Wildheart released his umpteenth studio album last month, and I didn't catch the fucking thing, so I'm here to catch up and review Ghost in the Tanglewood. Before I start the review, if you haven't already and you're new to the channel and you like what you see, make sure you subscribe at the end of it. I'm not doing this shit for fun. Is that all this is to you people? A joke? Ginger Wildheart is one of my all-time musical heroes. Quite frankly, how this guy hasn't gone stratospheric is beyond me. His songwriting, his ability to do a catchy as hell chorus. There's a familiarity to his songs. What I mean by that is, it's like you know them after the first listen. They just root themselves into your brain with these infectious choruses and hooks and inspired lyrics. Love Ginger Wildheart. I take it this is going to be another positive review. Doing an introduction for Ginger Wildheart is a very tough thing because he's led such a wild and crazy life. He was born and raised in South Shields, Northern Englandhamshire. He was a guitarist in the Choir Boys before they kicked him out. He had a brief tenure in the New York band The Throbs before starting the Wildhearts, the band that many of us will know him from or got our first introduction to him from. And what a fantastic band they were. I myself had my introduction to his songwriting genius through the 4-track Caffeine Bomb single. Caffeine Bomb, Caffeine Bomb, Caffeine Bomb. Whereas a lot of bands would release a single and as the B-side they'd have a live version or a remix or basically an album that, or basically a song that just didn't make the cut because it wasn't good enough. And quite honestly, sometimes you can see the reasons why. The Wildhearts, or more specifically Ginger Wildheart, was so prolific in his songwriting. Every single they released had an extra 3 bonus songs on them of equal quality. Take the Caffeine Bomb single for example. You had Caffeine Bomb, you had Girlfriend's Clothes, Shut Your Fucking Mouth and Use Your Fucking Brain. Phenomenal track if you haven't heard that one. Great fun. And The Bullshit Goes On. So that was my introduction to this guy and his songwriting. Wow. There was always a meld of hard rock, metal, punk and pop with his music. As I said earlier, always catchy as hell, inspired hooks and riffs and melodies and lyrics. Great stuff. What an inspiring shot. I could quite easily do a number of videos on Ginger Wildheart alone, not even mentioning his songs, and they'd all be entertaining. But I'm going to try and stick to this album for this one. Balls. The only other thing I would mention for those of you who aren't aware of him, he's another guy who's very much like Devin Townsend, who's another one of my all-time musical heroes. Just writes constantly and is always following their muse. They're never backing down to the man. They're always doing their own thing. They're always following their muse and they're always exploring different genres and music and just doing what the fuck they want, and I love that. And while we're on the subject of Devin Townsend was actually in the Wildhearts for about a year, and that had a profound effect on his songwriting. That's how strong Ginger Wildheart's songwriting is, that he would have his influence on Devin Townsend. Amazing stuff. I'm free to be who I be, and this is my face. Haunting. So let's get on to Ghost in the Tanglewood. Just want to read out a quick something that I found on his. This was actually originally crowdsourced through Pledge Music. Quite a lot of his stuff is nowadays. I've gotten a few things from it myself, signed editions, of course. But I found this on the website. The songs largely deal with the traditionally taboo subject of mental health issues, specifically depression, which I have suffered from my whole life. Having recently weaned myself off medication, the music I make now serves as both therapy and comfort. I find relief in this music and hope that the songs bring a similar comfort to the listener. The narrative throughout is pretty confessional in nature, but I think the candid approach showcases the lyrics in a more bold and open way than a traditional rock album. Now, when he says traditional rock album, what he means is this album is actually done in far more of a country and western style. But don't let that put you off if that's not your thing, because there's still a lot of the songs are traditional rock structures, really. Well, they're traditional Ginger Wildheart songs. How long did that fucking take you? Opening track, The Daylight Hotel. This was written while receiving treatment in a mental hospital. It was quite well documented that I think it was maybe August of last year, Ginger attempted to take his own life. As I said earlier on, a lot of this album is dealing with mental issues and depression specifically, and they got to him last year to the point where he tried to take his own life. Luckily he failed, but he spent time in recovery afterwards. You'll find, and let me just read some of the lyrics. There are voices in the wall all around the clock for the lady next door on suicide watch, and there's drunks in the hall because they want to come back because they went outside and they went off track. Classic Ginger Wildheart writing. Those catchy as fuck choruses. I can't think of many other people who can write a song about mental illness and being in an institution, recovering from addiction and from a suicide attempt, and make it sound catchy as hell. I'd say that was a testament to his strong songwriting ability myself. Next up we have Paying It Forward. Starts out with a slide guitar, and I guess this song is about realising that there are people out there who are willing to help. That you should go to the people you love, help others, and allow yourself to be helped as well, I guess, is the thing. A lot of us try to do things on our own and shun help. It only takes one person to teach, one person to reach, one person to help them along. By making this chain, you're paying it forward. So by making this chain, you're helping everybody out. You're helping us. You're helping people move on, helping people get past bad things in life. It's normally busy as fuck round here, but as it's a Friday, I suppose people have lives. Look at me, I've got a life. Fucking bullshit. Next up we have Golden Tears. To me this one's about getting over depression, building yourself up again. The depression caused from all the shit in the world. Yeah, life can be pretty overwhelming at times, and Ginger tells us, build your courage, build your courage, build your courage from the cauldron of these molten golden tears. The only fucking part that had an obstruction. Phantom memories. As the spectres abound in every room of the house these days, all we can do is pray the spirit of the new will come drive phantom memories away. Yeah, I guess I assume the phantom in question is depression. What the fuck is going on over there? Yeah, I assume the phantom in question is depression, and finding it, and the phantom haunts you, even though you may have got over it. Anyone who suffered depression will know that it has a habit of coming back. So even though that phantom might have disappeared momentarily, as a part of you just kind of, you know, that little fucker is waiting somewhere. This song definitely had a haunting atmosphere to it that fit perfectly well with the lyrics and the meaning of the song, and for me this was one of the standout tracks on the album. Next up is Minus You. Could be wrong, but I seem to remember hearing something about Ginger splitting up from his long-time partner, his girlfriend. So I'm guessing this is about that. Apologies if I'm wrong. I'm wondering how much his touring lifestyle maybe led to that, purely down to some of the lyrics in this song. This is the life of which I fantasized, and I've lived this way long before you arrived. But yours is the face in the thousands I see, with tears in your eyes when you're thinking of me. I really do rate Ginger as a lyricist. I said earlier on, how the fuck this guy isn't bigger than he is, I don't know. He's an England-Hampshire institution. Next up is Remains, a song about putting all the pieces together again. This had a kind of a lounge jazz feel. Dare I say, Sade, the sweetest taboo. Next up, The Words Are Gonna Have to Wait. I'm guessing from the lyrics this is the struggle to communicate when you're in when you're in the midst of depression. All of us have these times where words come easily to us, but when you hit depression, when you hit that wall, when you need to be able to express yourself most, you can't. Maybe that's one of the things with depression as well. You don't necessarily know what it is you're feeling either, so it's hard to communicate that. Without the will to write, I lose the means to communicate. I've got some melodies, but the words are going to have to wait. Next up is My Old Friend the Blues. This is a cover of a Steve Earle song, very well done as well. Next up is The Reaper, and from the lyrics, I guess this is the ultimate one. I guess this is giving in to depression with suicide. You can fight with depression for your whole life through. If you fall in battle, there's no medal for you. No one called you brave, no one said you tried. You won't be a hero in anyone's eyes. That is the sad part of it, really. People really struggling with depression and just can't see a way out. When you're in the midst of it, it's so hard to see outside of it. I've read quite a lot about people who've attempted suicides and all the rest of it, and all of them seem to have this feeling that the world would actually just be better off without them. And the idea that one depression gets you, and that's the one that sends you over the edge. That's deep stuff. Deep stuff. This is the last song on the album, or at least the last one that I'm going to talk about. There are actually 3 extra songs on the album I've got. Just a Few Old Memories, Has She Got a Friend for Me, and I Could Have Cared for You. But I noticed that there were only lyrics written for the 10, and everywhere I've read about this album seems to class it as a 10-track album. So I'm guessing these are bonus tracks to said album. Thanks for clearing that up. Final track on the album, Don't Say Goodbye. I'm guessing this is him saying goodbye to his son before going away for a long time on tour. Hey little one, the distance hurts as much as it's ever done, but it's time to go. You're getting big so fast, I've barely seen you grow. That must be a tough thing for a lot of musicians, I'm sure. There's a lot of highs to being on the road, I have no doubt. You see some crazy shit. You get to experience a lot of things that other people don't. There's a lot of sacrifices to be made as well. I can only imagine that saying goodbye to your child who doesn't want you to leave as you go away for months on end and miss so much of their childhood, that must be quite a hard thing to do, regardless of the allure of the rock star lifestyle. And there you have Ghost in the Tanglewood, a beautiful, heartfelt album from one of Englandhamshire's, nay, the world's true genius songwriters. And I think part of what he wanted to do with the album was bring attention to mental health issues and the stigma that is attached to it. So I mean, that's an important thing. I think a lot of us have been through things like that, or at the very least we've known people who have, maybe still going through it. And it's a tough thing. It's not an easy thing to talk about, and so for that I salute Mr. Wildheart. Good job, sir, good job. So that was Ghost in the Tanglewood, and I'll be back on Thursday with my next subscriber request, which will be for Magma by Gojira. Yeah, so make sure you come back for that one. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the rest of the doobly-doobly. And see you next time. Oh, that was just cringe-worthy.